Below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the
Our service begins with this word from our worship leader, Ray Knudson.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder on this last Sunday of November. It's hard to believe, but we're about to enter the last month of this crazy and challenging year. Hello, my name is Ray Knudson, and I'm very pleased to be your worship leader for today's service. Even though weather and health concerns have driven us back to the Zoom world, I'm confident we can still have a spiritual experience together. And to help that along, we're going to have a very special service today with some truly powerful music. I know you're going to appreciate it. We welcome all at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. All of you are welcome, and all of you are sacred. Whatever your past was like, whatever this present moment is like for you, we invite you to journey into the future together. If you are a new online visitor, please email our office administrator, Amy Zen, and let us know how you found us. You will find her email listed in the Zoom chat. Our church website also has a great deal of information about UUCB, our programs, and our activities. Now, please ensure that your microphones remain muted as you join the others gathered for worship.
Good morning. My name is Verdis LeVar Robinson, and I use he, him, or they pronouns. It is a pleasure to join you all in worship from Montpelier, Vermont, the smallest capital in the world, only has 7,000 people, where I serve as a ministerial intern for the Unitarian Church of Montpelier. I am also a student at the Meadville Lombard Theological School, last year student, where I was a student of your minister's preaching class. It is so good to be with you all. And our call to worship comes from the words of the Reverend Dr. Kristen Harper, entitled Each Day, from the Voices from the Margins. Each day provides us with an opportunity to love again, to hurt again, to embrace joy, to experience unease, to discover the tragic. Each day provides us with an opportunity to live. This day is no different. This hour is no more unique than the last, except maybe today, maybe now, among friends and fellow journeyers, maybe for the first time, maybe silently, we can share ourselves. Come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn is hymn number 317, We Are Not Our Own, sung by myself and Eliza Thomas on the piano.
We are not our own, earth forms us, human leaves on nature's growing vine, fruit of many generations, seeds of life divine. Earth names us, past and present people near and far, family and friends and strangers, shows us who we are. Therefore let us make thanksgiving, and with justice willing and aware, give to earth and all things living liturgies of care. Let us be a house of welcome, living stone upholding living stone, gladly showing all our neighbors we are not our own.
Now please join me in a time for all ages. Today's Time for All Ages is in honor of the passing of Stephen Sondheim, a death that hit me especially hard for many reasons. Please enjoy one of his greatest compositions performed by the One Voice Children's Choir that has a message for all ages. It is entitled, Children Will Listen, from Into the Woods.
Careful the things you say, children will listen. Careful the things you do, children will see and learn. Children may not obey, but children will listen. Children will look to you for which way to turn, to learn what to be. Careful before you say, listen to me. Children will listen. Careful the wish you make. Wishes are children. Wishes are children. Careful the path they take. Wishes come true. Not free. Careful the spell you cast. Not just on children. Sometimes the spell may last past what you can see and turn against you. Careful the tale you tell. That is the spell. Children will listen. Children will listen.
If you have a candle or a chalice near your computer, please get ready to light it. We invite you to type into the chat box where your chalice is lit, the street, or the neighborhood, or what city if you're joining us from outside Boulder County. And now I'd like to invite Bill Osher to light this morning's chalice. Bill?
Like many of you, I was raised in another denomination and gradually realized it did not adequately reflect my beliefs. As I grew older, I was drawn to Unitarian Universalism because of its open-minded philosophy and commitment to social justice. However, although I occasionally participated, I never became an official UU member until late in my life. Already in my 70s, when my wife Diane and I moved to Boulder to be closer to my son, we needed to reach out to others to make connections. So we planned to attend several different liberal churches. The first one we attended was this congregation. We liked the minister, we liked the worship service, and afterwards, we were warmly welcomed by many of you. The next week we came back. We never visited another church. We attended a theology class. We became members. We joined a covenant group. I became a board member. Our closest friends are members of this congregation. The pandemic has been hard on everyone, but it has been especially difficult to go without the sense of community that comes from listening to a sermon together, meditating together, singing together, sharing a potluck together. The older I get, the less sure I am about the nature of ultimate reality. But of this much I am certain. Whenever I have experienced transcendence, it has been within community, with others who seek the truth, who care for each other, and strive to make the world a better place. I light this candle to celebrate our loving community and look forward to celebrating our community together in physical proximity again.
We now invite all those gathered in your various locations to join together in fellowship and community as we all say aloud together our congregation's covenant. We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
I think we may have lost Verdis for a moment. Let's give him time to sign back in.
Well, I'm here. I can spotlight myself if you like. There we are. All right. If you can, join me in a time of prayer and meditation. You can have your hand on your heart. You can close your eyes. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Spirit of life, unfolding mystery whose truth is never fully grasped. Source of love connecting us all with hearts open wide, we rest now in your quiet embrace. We are more aware of the fragility of life than ever before. We know that even with our strength and resilience and durability, we are also tender and breakable, and our time upon this earth is brief. Each life has its fullness, its complex intermingling of triumphs and happiness and of sadness, perhaps even despair. And each life eventually comes to an end. On the cusp of World AIDS Day, which is this Wednesday, let us remember the millions of people whose lives have been taken by this disease. Let us hold in our hearts those who continue to endure the hardships and suffering caused by HIV and AIDS, including the social stigma that endures alongside the devastation of the body. We are mindful, O Spirit, that we are in the midst of a pandemic. As COVID-19 and its many variants continues to shape and mold and interrupt the lives of far too many, and also take the lives of far too many, over 5 million. We hold in our hearts all those who have felt the pain of this disease, whose lives have been cut short, and all who are mourning their deaths. Spirit of upending compassion and grace, we are indeed fragile beings. In our fragility, help us to know how and by whom we are held with love and care. Help us to extend our compassion to others. And with these connections, may we know ourselves strengthened. May each of us be the embodiment of love through all of our days in this delicate turning of living, breathing, and dying. May peace find us again and again, even here, even now. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
What's Ashe? It's some African thing. It's like shalom, you know.
Arabic.
No, it's not Arabic.
It's actually African. And it's Googleable as well. As the music begins in our time of blessing and concerns, in just a moment, you're invited to share your joys and concerns here in the chat, Zoom chat, and we will hold them close to our hearts. And please know that you are not alone in your happiness, nor in your griefs. And our special music, while you're entering your chats, your joys and concerns or sorrows in the chat, is entitled Zion's Walls from the Old American songs by Aaron Copland.
Come, fathers and mothers, come, sibling in others, come, join us in singing the praises of Zion, the praises of Zion. Oh, fathers, don't you feel determined to meet within the walls of Zion? We'll shout and go round, we'll shout and go round, we'll shout and go round, we'll shout and go round the walls of Zion, the walls of Zion. Come, fathers and mothers, come, siblings and others, come join us in singing the praises of Zion. Come, fathers and mothers, come, sibling and others, come, join us in singing the rise of Zion. Oh, fathers, don't you feel determined to meet within the walls of Zion? We'll shout and go round, we'll shout and go round, we'll shout and go round, we'll shout and go round the walls of Zion, the walls of Zion, the walls of Zion.
For all these blessings and concerns, as well as those that remain silently in our hearts, we hold this compassionate space with love. Thank you for all the ways you bless and continue to bless each other. Before the sermon, I have a quick reading for you, and it comes from the Reverend Dr. Kristen Harper, and it's entitled, Who is Welcomed? And being mindful that this is Thanksgiving weekend, you know, everyone wants a seat at the table. Blacks, Latinos, Asians, the poor, the disabled, gays, lesbians. Where are all the straight, white, modern men supposed to sit? I'm not prejudiced, I'm just asking. And what table are they talking about? My table only sits 8 comfortably, and I have service for 10, that's it. You have to wait your turn. Can you imagine if we let anyone sit at our table? Why, we may have people that can't tell their salad fork from their dinner fork, or people who eat with their hands. I shudder to think. Anyone is welcomed at my table, in my home, as long as you don't have grease stains on your clothes and have washed your hands before you touch my silverware. Everyone is welcome at my table, as long as you don't proselytize to me your religion or your politics, and don't get upset when I question yours. After all, it wasn't my faith that taught me to eat Jesus and drink his blood. Come on in, I say, but don't make fun of my Pan-African sculptures and paintings mixed with Chinzi Curio precious moment figurines. If you don't dress up and don't have every hair in place and don't smell too fresh, you are welcome. But don't sit on my good leather or the new futon cover. Here, let me get you a towel. I'm told the outside shower works very well. Everyone is welcomed at my table as long as you sit still and don't wiggle or interrupt the grown folks' conversations. Children should be seen and not heard, and they should dress up in bows and satin so they can entertain us. Don't worry if they aren't talented. It only reflects on your upbringing, not mine. Truth is, I really don't have room for you. Maybe next time. All right, so jokes aside, who has seen the classic movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Wave your hands if you have. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? 1960s film. Oh, quite a few of you, wonderful. It was very controversial, but timely. It debuted in 1967, and it starred Black American actor Sidney Poitier, the first Black actor to receive an Oscar award for a leading role. And it was a romantic comedy in which he desired to ask the father of his lover for her hand in marriage. Very traditional. However, she was white and from an upper class, liberal-minded white family. The film was one of the few films at the time to depict an interracial relationship in a positive light, as miscegenation historically had been illegal in most states in America. In fact, when the film was finished, it was still illegal in 17 states, mostly southern states, until all anti-miscegenation laws were struck down by the Supreme Court in Loving versus Virginia in June of 1967. In an interview many years after its release, Sidney Poitier reflected how possible was it to make a film like that in America at that time, and he said that it was close to impossible. And I quote, primarily people, the industry was not ready for such type of a film. But in talking to the director, Stanley Kramer, Poitier quoted Kramer saying, "I would like to make a film like this, not because it is going to be sensational, but because it is going to be proactive. And not because it's going to be proactive, but because I am a filmmaker in America and this is part of America. And if I use this format, I can speak to the humanity in people." To make a long story short, the romantic comedy showed how each person navigating their relationships with each other and their feelings on the matter, eventually bowing to the power of love. This included Sidney Poitier's parents and her mother, with one holdout, her father. However, in an honest exchange between his mother and her father was convicted of something. He was reminded that love is love, is love, is love, is love. And before the families adjourned to the dining room for dinner, the father gave a moving monologue saying that although the pair would face enormous problems ahead, due to their racial differences. They must find a way to overcome them, and he will approve the marriage, knowing all along he had no real right to stop it. But it was deeper than that. In his message of affirmation, he said, "There is nothing, absolutely nothing, that your son does not feel for my daughter than I did for Christina, who was his wife for over 20 years. The only thing that matters is what they feel and how they feel for each other. And if it's half of what we felt, that's everything." It was a classic and poignant moment where everyone witnessed were in tears. They had tears in their eyes, and the power of love that was more powerful than fear, more powerful than prejudice, more powerful than disappointment shine through that day and on film and on screen. Love came to dinner that evening. Guess who's coming to dinner? It left me with a message that in cultivating relationships, honesty and openness are key players. And when we hold this history, and when we are honest, honesty, authenticity, and being true to who you are, who you have become, being honest with your feelings, but being open to the power of love, open to the love you have for yourself, and open to the love for whomever you are cultivating a relationship with, honesty and openness are key players. In holding history, and last month was LGBTQ History Month, African-American poet and openly gay man, one of my patron saints, James Baldwin, once said, "The moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the light goes out." Where does that take you? What do you feel or see when you hear that? I'll read it one more time. The moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the light goes out. For me, it speaks to the experience that I had in growing in a relationship with myself first, and then with others that I care about, and making sure to hold them close in faith to my heart so that my heart wouldn't be broken by them, to hold them, but also to be held by them in love and care, to hold and be held in authentic reciprocity. Then and only then will I not worry about the sea engulfing us, the waves of life splitting us apart and extinguishing the light between us, the flame that we burn in our hearts for each other. Pandemic time is teaching us so many things about our relationships and about our history. What have you learned? For me, my friendships were weeded out and realigned. I had to prioritize those that were essential over those that are convenient or strategic. Some didn't last, some didn't grow. Others with authentic reciprocity did. Maybe it took a slowing down to realize this. Well, my friends, last month, we celebrated a National Coming Out Day. And I want to tell you a brief story in which I too had a guess who's coming out to dinner experience. At the age of 32 years old, I was bringing someone home to family dinner for the first time. It was Thanksgiving dinner 11 years ago. It was a bold and courageous move, as I essentially was coming out to my family as my guest for dinner was not of a different race, but of the same gender, my first boyfriend. 2 years prior, I had resigned as minister in a Black Holiness Pentecostal church, began to live my truth, joined a UU church, and now I had the audacity of bringing a gay lover to Thanksgiving dinner. Why would you do that? It was somewhat of a blur, but I believed in the power of love. No. Authentic reciprocity of relationships to get me through that day. For you see, my father is a Holiness Pentecostal preacher like I was. And this year, he's about to celebrate his 88th year on this earth. And I had the great pleasure of rejoining him after 2 years in quarantine. And it was a great, great reunion this past week. So he's a Holiness Pentecostal preacher to this very day, and so are two of my sisters. My brother is a retired Air Force. He retired from the Air Force, and my nieces and nephews were raised in the church, just like my parents, and just like their parents. A church that believed that my lifestyle was a ticket to hell. My mother had dementia, so my siblings and I oversaw the planning, the food, and I cannot cook. But my boyfriend could. In fact, he made the best baked ziti that I have ever had, and I do have the recipe if anyone wants it. But my family inhaled it, for Thanksgiving dinner was late and everyone was hungry, so he saved Thanksgiving by having a meal already there before everything else was ready. But I can still remember everyone's reaction when I introduced him. My father smiled and shook his hand and even showed him his Hawaiian guitar. My sister smiled and welcomed his contribution to the meal and begged for the recipe. My brother smiled and talked to him as well. All smiles so far. Even my nieces and nephews gravitated to him. I think my nieces thought that he was fine. They all instantly became Facebook friends with him. I was shocked and amazed. Was this the power of love? The only holdouts were my brother-in-laws. They did not greet him or talk to him. In fact, they sat on the couch in the den next to each other with their arms folded, looking down when I entered the room. I could tell I was ruining their Thanksgiving. But at least I knew how they felt. It was hard and sad to see, but I did not lose faith in them, as James Baldwin warned. And besides, remember, honesty is a key player. And their honest reactions were key. Now, openness, that's a different story. Nevertheless, I expected my whole family to be like they were, but my family wasn't. They weren't. It felt amazing. I felt seen, heard, and held for the very first time in my life. Now, I realize that this isn't true for everyone, that this experience, it seemed like it was easy for me, but it wasn't. I didn't know what to expect and worried that my visit would be cut short. And years later, it turns out that one of my sisters, one of my preaching sisters, who I had come out to many years before, had warned everyone weeks prior, guess whose Verdis is bringing to dinner? He's bringing his boyfriend. This allowed them time to reflect on their love and care for me, to sit with it and their own feelings. It wasn't a shock or a surprise when I brought him in, but it reminds me of a biblical scripture from the inclusive Bible of 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, the 4th to the 8th verses. And it says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, and it does not put on airs. It is not snobbish, it is never rude or self-seeking. It is not prone to anger, nor does it brood over injuries. Love doesn't rejoice in what is wrong, but rejoices in the truth. There is no limit to love's forbearance, to its trust, its hope, its power to endure. Love never fails. And the part that really hits me to my core, even right now, is that love doesn't rejoice in what it thinks is wrong, but rejoices in the truth. That is how we were able to grow in relationship. Religion told them that I was wrong, but love rejoiced in my truth. But living and being honest about my truth was no easy feat. It wasn't, as it isn't for many LGBTQ plus in our society, and that is still largely against what is deemed normal, what is deemed right, what is deemed sacred. Some never cultivate relationships with their families. Some never even accept themselves. It was difficult as a minister of the gospel to live my authentic self. What gave me the audacity, the courage, the strength, the power to do so? I was first welcomed by a chosen family, my Unitarian Universalist family. I was welcomed literally with open arms. The Pride banner proudly displayed in front of the church welcomed me. The church ladies during coffee hour affirmed me after hearing where I had come from and me jokingly telling them that my previous faith believed that I had a sinful, evil spirit in me, compelling to live an immoral life of sin and degradation. And this is before COVID. They held me and whisper affirmations in my ears and told me that nothing was wrong with me, that I was loved, that I was safe. They embodied the first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We believe that each and every person is important. Not only that, but I was able to go on a spiritual journey of healing, of exploration for the fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. For we believe that each person must be free to search for what is true and right in life. These principles and living them gave me hope, gave me courage and strength to live my authentic self and to heal. It gave me courage to discover what was important and who was important, to behold, to be held, and to hold them close. For if not my biological family, then definitely my chosen church family. Make sure, Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder, that not only are you welcoming, but you are affirming. Our lives, our souls, our dreams, our history, our principles depend on it. So let us continue to be honest and open with each other. Let us continue to hold each other in care and in support and to be held by this community. Let us continue to welcome and affirm everyone who comes our way. And let the spirit and the power of love keep us together, guide the way as we are building a new way. Amen, Osher, and blessed be. Whew. Now join us in singing the musical response, hymn number 1017 in the Teal hymnal, Building a New Way.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Wow, I don't know if I can go on without thanking Reverend Verdis for that message. That to me was very powerful. However, I will go on. This month, our offering goes to Bridge House. Bridge House believes in, respects, and empowers people experiencing homelessness. They connect with them, in housing, employment opportunities, so they can realize and embrace their future.
All right, name is Edward Pinkney. Everyone calls me Pinky, from Highlands Ranch, Colorado. About a year and a half ago, I decided to stop drinking because of a few accidents I had on my motorcycle. The third one almost took my life, and I decided to change to make sure I can see my grandkids graduate and be around here. Left the house, told my wife that I was going to take care of what needed to be taken care of and get myself back to where I was. 8 years sobriety prior to the worst 4 years of my life after this. October 21st, I walked into a place called Bridge House, and I've been here now going 11 months sober. This place has changed my life. If I knew this place would have been here years ago, I would have walked in these doors and not put myself through what I had put myself through eventually. Bridge House has made me realize that it's never too late to start. It's never too late to change. I'm now an employee with Bridge House. I've told myself I'm going to give back to the people who have saved my life and give back to the community of Boulder. So I do plan on staying out here till my end of days. I'm about to get my own residence. I've got my family circle back. Everyone is getting the pinky back that they had lost for a while. And it's a good feeling realizing that this is who I really am and this is who I want to continue to be. Without Bridge House, I couldn't tell you where I would have been 9 months from now. So this program has changed a life. I've seen it change lives, and it's just something that should continue to go to keep people realizing that it's okay to make a mistake, because the only thing that's important is it doesn't matter who you were, it matters who you become, and this program has taught me that. So we hope that you all stick around and continue to help Bridge House get these people back on the right track.
You can make a donation now using the link posted in our chat by sending a check to your UCB or scanning the QR code on the next slide with your mobile phone. I invite you to be as generous as you can. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure and an honor to be a part of your community from here in Vermont, and to listen to my story and this message that comes from a very, very vulnerable place. And I definitely appreciate your attention and your love and your care. And I'm going to extinguish the chalice here that I lit, and that was a gift to this house that was built in 1864, and also say some closing words. Our closing words come from the Reverend Dr. William G. Singford, one of my mentors. Only begun. Spirit of life and love, dear God of all nations, there is so much work to do. We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy. Help us hold fast to our vision of what can be. May we see the hope in our history and find the courage and the voice to work for that constant rebirth of freedom and justice. That is our dream. Amen.
Thank you all who have gathered here this morning. We invite you to stay with us in our Zoom rooms for a time of online fellowship and discussion.
I'm Barb Richards. Verdis, I'm glad you chose to be a Unitarian Universalist. How blessed we are to have you. Thank you for your morning's offering. We love you.
And I'm Fred Cole. And I would remind you before we go into our breakout rooms that your board is listening this morning. So if you want to get an update on the status of what's happening around the church, you're welcome to stay here in the main room and participate in that session. Steve, would you put me on the host, please, so that we can bop around a little bit? Thank you. And in just a moment, you'll be invited to attend one of the breakout rooms. Have a great morning, everyone.
Verdis, I really appreciate that you visited with us, and I hope you do so again. And I'm in the Christmas spirit with penguins on, all for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Verdis, we hope you can stay around and maybe visit with some of us also.
Sure, I would love to.
All right.
And by the way, your minister taught me how to preach, so.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah.
My
Verdis,
preaching professor.
yes. I just wanted to let you know, Verdis, I had a very similar experience this last Thanksgiving, but not with a gender issue, but with a diet issue. We had a vegan with us, and it caused quite a bit of commotion around our Thanksgiving dinner, but I don't want to go into the details here, but I understand the experience you had. It's difficult.
Okay, everybody, here you go. Breakout rooms coming your way, and stay right where you are. Don't accept the invitation. If you want to speak with Sarah Volman and the others about events happening in our church.
Oh, I guess I'm going to breakout room number 1 then. Okay. Or should I stay here, Steve?
Whichever you'd like.
A little inside baseball.
Okay, I think I'll hang out in the main room.
Building stuff. If you want to, it's going to be sort of building stuff, and you're welcome to stay.
Okay.
You're welcome to go chat.
I'll stay in the main room if anyone wants to chat with me.
If you're bored, you can always bug out and go back to a chat room too.
So should I share my screen now with the slide, or?
Sorry, Sarah. We can do it however it works. We can just stay in a gallery setting, or but you have a slide to show?
Yeah.
So yeah, you should be able to do screen sharing.
Alrighty.
There you go.
And I might suggest.
Okay, cool. Voting. Okay, awesome. So basically, the board just selected 3 things from our last 2 meetings, mostly November, but a little bit from October as well, to spotlight for you all. And one of them is that we are building a wall for some new AV equipment that we purchased.
Could I interrupt for a moment? My breakout room didn't happen.
The breakout room didn't happen?
Yep.
Let's see here.
Oh, like there was no one in it?
There was one other person and then they left.
Oh, maybe you can.
And nobody else came on.
Well, yeah, it just, I don't know what to tell y'all. Some of a lot of people are still in, your board is listening. That's why the breakout rooms are kind of small. But we'll let them run for a bit. And
Well, there's no one in any breakout room?
yeah, there are in some of the rooms.
Then can you just stick me in one of the rooms?
I'll try, Lynn, just a sec. Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, yeah. So basically, one thing to spotlight is that we're building a wall, which you can kind of see on the map here on the left, like for some new AV equipment that we bought. And basically, the little background behind the AV equipment is that our AV team worked with a consultant for a few months recently. And they were working with them about moving to our hybrid model, doing church online as well as in person. And they purchased some new equipment, which just doesn't fit on the cart we used to use. And they, just to keep everything safe from theft and whatever might happen, they figured they would need like a space to store the equipment that's also like sound isolated from the sanctuary. And that is going to be built with some money from an anonymous donor. And then the next thing is we're hiring a facilities manager. And that is because Tom Zanoni, out of the goodness of his heart, put like 20 hours a week into helping us all out with the building issues that we've been having the last few years. And we wish him well. Thank you so much to Tom. But as he retires, we just, for some strange reason, can't find someone who is willing and able to put that much work into fixing everything for free. So we decided to hire a part-time person for that. And one of the issues that we're going to look into fixing is with the well. The water table has just been decreasing, and we're still in a research phase with that. But as you probably know, we've had a whole bunch of plumbing and other issues. And then finally, a group from UUCB is going to Pine Ridge Native American Reservation December 3rd, and bringing a whole bunch of donations that people have given, which is great. If you have donations, definitely drop them off at Karen Churnside's house, which is 755 Utica in North Boulder, anytime this month. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, those are December 1st and 2nd, you can stop by the church just like before, anytime between, I think it's 9 to 5, and the staff will be there. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and we're more than happy to help you out.
Karen, if you care to, you might put that address in the chat.
Can I presume that any donations that we've already made are in the hands of whoever is going?
Yeah, because the church will be back open, for December. So it'll be as if there was no closure because of COVID. People will be able to get them. Good question. Other questions?
I just want to mention that the new AV command center can have the banner of "We are building a new wall." I hear Heidi laughing downstairs. But that was the spot was picked because it doesn't eliminate any seating in the sanctuary, and it's kind of where we were before, and there's storage cabinets and stuff for that. So I think it's going to be neat, and it will really enhance our ability to stream the services.
Looks really good, Steve. Are you going to have a window? I see one window. Is there going to be another window looking out at directly at the pulpit?
No. If we could make a window through that wall that's to the upper side, the north side, we would. But our consultant, who's been a filmmaker and a video producer for a long time, assures us that we will have full view of the inside of the sanctuary through our cameras and our monitor.
Makes sense.
He wanted at one point for us to be facing backwards, and I put my foot down and said, no, I can deal with not actually seeing, but I'm going to get really confused if left is right and right is left. We will have a window. We will be able to open the door and sort of listen in. The main challenge here is that once you stream live, you have one set of conditions for the people in the room. They can hear the piano and the drums just fine without a microphone, but the stream going out would only hear that, as a bleed from somebody else's vocal mic, and that wouldn't make for a very good presentation. So we need to be able to hear what's going out on the stream as well as what's happening in the room. And this was the solution that we came up with.
Good job.
I have a question. Can people hear me?
Yes, John.
Yeah. Like I guess many of you, I missed a chunk of what was going on because of electronic problems. Can any one of you tell me what were the circumstances under which the minister came out to his family?
I don't know.
It's Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay.
Right.
But apparently they knew before the dinner.
Yes.
They had been tipped off.
Yeah.
And just for everybody's information, at least on my screen on the top, there's a live red button and click here to open live transcript. You can actually click on that and then click on, let me see, click on view stream on Otter, and it will automatically open a tab on your browser with the live stream of the whole service. So you can always keep that, reread it, send it to somebody. It's not going to be word perfect because it's computerized transcription, but that is one of the features of Zoom.
There was one more thing from the board that I would like everyone to know, unless anyone has more technical questions on Zoom on that. Which is, I wasn't aware of this, so maybe other people aren't aware either, but every member has access to the board meeting minutes once they're approved and posted, as well as a lot of other documents like lists of all the committees. There's a who's who and what's what, which is lists of all the committees, who's the committee contact, if you need to get in touch with a certain committee or a certain ministry team. And I am pasting, it is on the church website under About and under Member Documents, and I'm pasting it into the chat. You will need to get from Amy Zen a login if you do not have one or if you've forgotten. There's a click here to register if you need it. And if you also want, Amy takes care of getting people set up with that, or if you want any sort of support from me on that, let me know. It's a great place if you want to be, if you want to see what's going on sort of behind the scenes. You can see board meeting minutes, all sorts of historical documents. There's just a ton of stuff on there. So please, if you don't have access to it, and you want to kind of know what's up and be more involved, get yourself some access to it because it's a useful resource.
One other question. Is the board or the COVID task force looking at our current level of concern about getting back together, particularly in light of not only our own community's exposure to COVID, but also this new variant that's just come out in the last few days?
Yeah, like really good question. I have a feeling that's on a whole bunch of people's minds with the recent developments. But I mean, since our last board meeting was before like the new variant from Southern Africa came up. We just haven't heard any updates, but I know the task force is always working on that, and I'm sure we'll hear something soon. So check your messenger. Do you have another question?
I have a question. I just came in from my Zoom room, breakout room, and I didn't hear any announcements. Have we got any information about whether we'll be in person in December?
Not yet.
Okay.
The meeting, at least through the 12th of December, will be broadcast from the chancel as we have been doing.
Oh, okay. Okay. That sounds like, I mean, Henry and Ellen have planned a auction event in the church on Friday coming up, the Friday the 3rd, or 3rd of December. And so we probably have to move that, or, okay.
Well, what's the status of using the building is
Right.
different than the use of gathering for a congregational environment with 30, 40, 60 people.
Right.
In other words,
Right.
We're talking of a group of 10 to 14. So, I don't know who's the decision maker on that.
So I think the answer is
Whitney.
Well, Whitney is head of the COVID task force. She is the one who's most knowledgeable about developments with the pandemic and what UUA is recommending and what Colorado is recommending and so forth. She advises the board and advises Reverend David. And so, you know, as it's been now, friends, for more than a year and a half, every day, every week brings a new development and new adjustments. I would recommend talking to Whitney or David or Jim Rao about that. But I know this, Henry, that when this current quarantine period ends midweek this week, then we plan to have the worship leaders back in the Earth Room next Sunday and so on to provide music and have a live service, but just without folks in the pew. So the church will be reopened unless something has changed this week. And for other people who have meetings scheduled, you should check with those folks that I mentioned.
Steve, this is Ray. Could I interrupt for just 1 second?
Sure.
Unrelated topic. Allie, we were trying to get email addresses. I've sent you my email address.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. Thank you, Steve.
Okay. Let's see. We have 32 people still here. I assume that some more folks want to have a breakout room, and I'm sorry that the ones I set up first time had low attendance because so many people stayed here to hear Sarah's wonderful presentation. So I'm just going to do like maybe two breakout rooms at this point, and some who weren't here or some who were, all of you are welcome to stay in the main room if you so choose. We can talk more about church business, right?
Well, I'm not going to break that rule.
Just don't accept the invitation if you want to stay here.
Okay. Well, I think that we need some more clarification on this policy. In other words, there's two things that seem somewhat defective. One is how do we know everybody's email address? In other words, I want Allison Turnside. It turns out I don't have her email address, and other people have. How do we access the directory. It's kind of an odd thing. We have to. So I think a directive to everybody who's on that list should be sent. My thinking is to how do you get on that list? How do you get the email addresses of everybody? You got to get this code or clearance from Amy, whatever it is. But how do we know what it is? I mean, I just heard it. I didn't write down the.
Is it on the website?
All right, I can tell you. So there are two. Is it all right if I explain?
Yes, please do.
Okay. There are two systems that you should have access to if you are a member. One is the member documents on the website. I posted that link in the chat. The other one is the Breeze Church Management System.
Could we interrupt? We got stuck in a tiny breakout room, just two people. Could you stick us somewhere else? The two Lynn's.
Did you write that down?
Okay.
About
another
us.
bed, Steve.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And there's a login for it.
So this is Diana Maiden. Allison, may I interject?
Yes.
So, and what you were describing is absolutely correct. If you are a member, you have access to the member documents, and within member documents is a church directory, which includes names, phone numbers, addresses, and email addresses. So Henry, that would be the source for the information for you to email someone. Regarding an evolving policy around COVID precautions at the church, I think the only two people that really would ultimately have that information as it gets changed and modified would be the board president, Jim Rao, and our minister, Reverend David. And as I think Steve clarified, Whitney is the chair of the COVID task force, and she advises both the board and Reverend David about concerns related to COVID. So those two people, either Jim Rao or Reverend David, or both of them together, would be able to give you the most current information.
May I add to Diana? Thank you, Diana. That's perfect. The only thing is Whitney is very, very much in touch with the state guidelines, the city of Boulder guidelines. She follows them very closely.
Yeah, exactly. And then she will advise both Jim and Reverend David. So rather than directly have a conversation with Reverend or with Whitney, I think going to just in terms of the ultimate policy decisions, either Jim, the board president, or Reverend David would be the most direct source.
But what I'm saying, what I'm trying to suggest, in other words, I love this getting this information, and it's useful to the 8 or 25 people that are on this call. But why not send an update regularly, perhaps once a week, Monday morning or Sunday morning or Friday morning? I doesn't see that to everybody on the list, like on our website, that updates on COVID implementations, procedures at UCCB. Here they are for next week, for the foreseeable week. Every week there could be an update, so that we don't have to discuss this regularly and be puzzled. I mean, I hear a number of people being puzzled. If that's
Henry. So I understand the frustration, and also we really haven't. We've only modified the COVID regulations around church presence within the building once, and that was most recently because of the finding that there was an individual in the building who had tested positive for COVID. So for most of the last 3 months, the policy has remained the same. But I think you're right, because everybody, does have concerns on a regular basis. Even just, an affirmation of the status would be helpful. But this is that I'm not on the board, so this would really be a board issue.
Well, it did
Yes.
change to continue this dialogue, Diane. This did change 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the situation.
Exactly, and that was because of the COVID.
Yeah, but now it's being fluctuated. I may have misheard last week from Reverend David on this Zoomcast that the church intended to have in-person things for next December 5th. Well, now I heard it's December 13th or whatever the following Sunday is. So if I didn't hear it right.
Now, of course, there's the Omicron variant.
Yeah, but I think the December 5th reference was when we hoped to be able to live stream from the sanctuary, which would mean that only the individuals involved in the Sunday service would be in the building, rather than having it being opened up to the congregation. I'm sorry, I've got someone I need to attend to in my home, so I'm going to sign off here. But thank you all.
Thanks, Diana. Henry, would it be okay with you if we just post the latest on the website, or would you rather have an email?
No, post it on the website for the people so we can, those who are planning ahead, those who want some clarification. It would be useful at this point. I've heard several people puzzled, and I'm trying to come up with a remedy. I think you're working on it right, Sharma. Get it on the website, and here it is. Just like all the other good stuff that's on the website.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think we will make an effort to highlight what our church is doing on our website, if that's okay with you.
Oh,
we'll try to make more of an effort. Yeah.
Thank you.
Karen Morgan's had her hand raised for a long time. Sorry, Sarah, you might have been just about to say this.
Yeah, Karen, why don't you unmute yourself and ask your question? We'd be happy to hear from you. What's your question, Karen?
Maybe can you hear us, Karen?
Currently, you're muted, Karen.
It's Lynn, and it's the third time that we got into breakout rooms of 2. Ali Mohammed and me got in a breakout room. Before that, it was Lynn and me. Before that, it was Reed and me. So could you get us in a bigger room, please?
There isn't any.
Are they?
The other guy.
I was in a breakout room consisting just of John Russell.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I only set up 2 breakout rooms. There evidently aren't more people than 1 or 2 that want to go to them.
And there's just me and Ali Mohammed that are in breakout rooms at all? Just the 2 of us?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay.
You can put me back to him and I'll explain it to him, because he doesn't speak very much English and I'm not very good at Egyptian, so.
Okay. Well, the breakout rooms were not a success today. I'm sorry, but we'll just move on with the group that we have here in the main room.
Thank
you.
I did introduce myself to myself.
Yes, good.
I know.
I'm sure you were very polite to yourself.
Good job, John. I want to
Well, Steve, could you put me back into the room with Ollie so I can explain to him
I
as
don't
best
know.
I can in English?
I will work on that.
Okay, I'll just wait.
Okay.
I told him I wouldn't desert him.
Okay. Here you go, Lynn. You're no, I can move you to you. I can't. It just says not joined, and the only way I can move you is to room 1. But you were in room 2 with Ollie.
I think she can pop back in. She can pop back in on her end somehow.
Yeah, on her. It's on your end there, Lynn.
It's under more join breakout room.
Oh, okay.
It was room 4 that had just me.
Yeah. But I want. Welcome to our life. I want to point out that I went to the website when Allison posted that link, and I went to member documents and I attempted to sign in, which I've done many times before, and it wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
And so it says you don't have permission to view the page. So then I went to re-register, and the password was saved. So, and it doesn't give you, the typical way to change password by sending me an email. So maybe we need some work on our website to make that more user-friendly.
I think a website revamp is definitely on the list, I heard. And also, you email Amy and tell her everything that you know about the error message that it's giving you, and hopefully she can sort it out.
Okay.
And also the revamping of the website, I think Rev David is heading that. It's in his realm of things, I think.
Yeah, I think it's pretty far down the list, but it has been flagged as a thing.
Oh, okay. Yes, definitely.
It definitely came
You
up.
are
in
aware.
conversation.
For Henry's benefit, Henry, when I go on the member documents, I usually download the most recent church directory as a PDF on my desktop, which I have. So I will send you an email with that PDF attached, so you will have a directory.
Thank you. That would make it a lot easier, because the reason I haven't done that is I don't need long PDF documents, multiple pages. It'd be nice to print out one copy. I still have a hand, what do you call it, a print copy from about 10 years ago, or whenever we had a last copy. And I realized that the website particularly, and all these services are so important, because we are in this virtual world now, ever so much more with COVID, and all this is so vital, and everything. I appreciate that, and I do want to stay in touch with Reverend Verdis, and I could go to his I just Googled him, and I'm sure I could find his email, and so forth. He just there's ways to when we have a visitor coming up. That's a good way, I would say, to find out more about the visitor minister beforehand. That's been very useful to me, to go to the individual's website and learn about him or her, or they, as they wish to be identified. Just a handy hint. But these things, we're using more and more virtual stuff, so we have to pay attention. Reluctant as I am.
Yeah.
I know I'm also on the board this time, and we have talked several times about improving communications. The challenge is a big one, and COVID has probably left us moving in the wrong direction about that, in terms of some of our communication channels weakening, or becoming more difficult. So we're aware of the need, and struggling to make those improvements. As far as the website, my personal feeling is, yeah, it could stand some improvement compared to other websites that I and you all frequent. And if you know any really bright 12-year-old that wants to completely redesign it, they'd probably be welcomed with open arms.
And another thing, Henry, is that this session that we're having called Y-Bill is exactly for the issues that you're raising. It's so we are aware of the issues our members are having. This is why we're having Y-Bill, and this is how we're trying to improve on communication.
I know everybody's.
So thank you so much for voicing them. That's exactly what we need to hear. Exactly. So thank you. Yeah.
As I've said before, I think Zoom is wonderful. We need to keep it regardless of COVID so that people can get together from widely distant places.
Well, the another thought that comes to me, John Russell, is that there's people who can't get here because they're ill or one thing or another, the mobility challenged. In other words, I was part of a group at the senior center in Boulder about 4 or 5 years ago, figuring out, asking how we could get more people involved at the senior center who are not there, because there's many seniors in Boulder that have mobility challenges. So the Zoom, however, some of the seniors, that present several challenges, how to get on Zoom, how to get onto computer and so forth. So it's a complex thing, but we're at the frontier. We're pushing the envelope, and if I sound impatient, it's only because of the frustration. But I know everybody's pulling on the same way, and the vision is clear. We have to use this system as much as we can. And so I want to let Steve know I got the church directory. It's 10 pages long. I think I'll print that out, and Ellen and I have a copy and a hard copy, and make it easy to hold on to that.
Good deal.
I will say, sometimes when you are the communicator, it is hard to know where the gaps are that the communicatees are seeing. So I super appreciate you guys pointing it out. Sarah, Sharman, and I have sort of taken on some of the thinking about communication. So at least I won't speak for them, but feel free to email me anytime.
What breakout rooms icon?
Sorry, what, Lynn?
Breakout rooms icon.
What about it?
Where is it? It went
We've
away.
got a few people left. It might be about time to wrap up.
That's
Yeah.
oh, there were just 2 of us, but we were in the middle of a conversation that was very deep. Tell him, look, if
That
we.
happens.
He also asked, "How long do we have to talk?" And I said, "I don't know."
Well, normally we wrap these things up about noon, which it is on the dot of now.
Okay.
And if you and Ali wish to continue conversing, just stay on, and I will leave the Zoom room open for a while, and you can do that.
Okay, that's good.
And if the rest of us want to sign off,
Thank you.
okay.
Hey,
Well,
thanks
yeah.
for all your feedback today. We appreciate it. Thank you. It's mostly communication. Thank you.
I know.
We'll get our website updated.
It's a concept. I don't have an icon for breakout room, so I'm just waiting for you to put the icon up.
No, there won't be a breakout room. You'll just stay right here, and if everybody else
Ollie here, I'll
retires from the field, then you'll have it to yourselves, you and Ollie.
Okay, I'll stick around.
Thank you all. I'm leaving now. I'm going to go eat lunch. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, I guess they can't get us in another breakout room. So can we finish this next week?
Okay.
Okay. We were at the Egyptians and why they shouldn't be killing the firstborn. Okay. Remember that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. We'll talk later.
Okay. Bye. See you
Bye.
later.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'm trying to get out.
Thank you. Have a nice week. Have a nice weekend.
You too, Ollie.
See you next week.
Okay.
Bye-bye from Cairo. Bye-bye.
I'm gonna close out here.
Okay.
Bye, all.
Bye.